Welcome to Let's Talk About It with Thelma Snipe, the director of From Brokenness to Wholeness. From Brokenness to Wholeness is a faith-based, outreach, transformational, radical root ministry that serves pain at the root. So have a seat and let's talk about it.
Hello, my name is Thelma Snipe, and I'm the director of an organization, From Brokenness to Wholeness. From Brokenness to Wholeness is a faith-based, outreach, transformational, radical root ministry, serving pain at the root. Because if it's not served at the root, it's not going to go any place. Our vision is to have a trauma rate-free world, state, city, community, home, school, judicial system. Thank you for listening today. Today we're going to share with you on our children, which is our inheritance. That's what we're going to share. Listen, children are our inheritance. You agree with me? And thank you for allowing us to come wherever you are. We're going to encourage you, empower you, inspire you. We have information, awareness, knowledge, and direction. I am a friend to the survivor. I am going to enter into your pain with you because I'm going to believe with you until you can believe. I'm going to have faith with you until your faith is strengthened. But I'm not alone. Let's talk about our children. Like I said, they are our inheritance. Know the facts. Educate the children. Know the facts. Because if you don't educate them, they're automatically in trouble because they don't know what to do. To help them to prevent from being sexually violated, educate them. Our children can make things easy for us. Get to them because we give the children no other tools to work with. If you don't give a child anything to work with, is already lost. Sexual abuse is a crime that occurs in secrecy. And sometimes they are sworn to secrecy. Whoever does this to them, tell them to keep their mouth closed. And they'll do it. Active protection begins with communication. Talk to the children. Talk. At least once a week, have a conversation with your children about sexual assault. Talk. Because see, children forget real easy. And when children forget, now they'll forget everything except what they want for Christmas, what they want for their birthday, and the new clothes that you're going to get them when they start back to school. But something like this, you have to continue to talk to them all of the time. Sexual abuse can happen to any child, boys or girls, any race, any class, culture, economic, or black background. The hard facts is the abuser doesn't care. He doesn't care where you live, who you are, because he's probably living with you. He's probably living in a house with you. Daddy, we'll talk about that later. 1 out of every 3 girls is sexually violated by the age of 18. Remember now, over 70% does not report. 1 out of every 5 boys are violated by the age of 18. Over 90% of the perpetrators are known to the children. The children know who they are. Great grandmama, got a story for that one. Dad, granddaddy, grandmama, cousin, brother, anyone in the family can violate or outside of the family. Let me tell you why I said the great grandmother. Some years ago, a friend of mine and her husband had a church. So they wanted me to come over and share the information that I had with their people. And so I did. One young lady had her 5-year-old daughter with her. And she stood up and told the story of her daughter. She said that her daughter would stay with her grandmother, the mother grandmother, when the mother went to work overnight. She worked all night long. So you're glad to have a babysitter that would take care of your child for you. So that's what she did. And one day she said to me that she was helping the daughter, the 4-year-old, to bathe. And also she took that time to say and show her the private part. What is private? What is not private? As she was showing the child the private part and who can touch her there, who could not touch her there, the child let her know that the grandmother, had touched her inappropriately. You understand what I'm talking about? This is a great-grandmother in her 70s that is violating this child while she was at the great-grandmother's house. And the mother did say to me that that's what they do in that family. That's what they do. They wait for the children to get a certain age, around 4 or 5 years old, then someone start messing. That's what it is, messing with that child. So the child wouldn't let anybody help her. The mother says she took her to a church, a certain church in Memphis, and they was going to anoint her with oil. But the child would back up and not allow them to put the oil on her. Well, by the time she got to us, she was 5 years old. Pretty little girl you want to see. So I had some oil with me, and I said to the mother, will she come to me? She said, I don't know. So I called the child, and she came to me. And she stood right at my knee. And I said, may I put some oil on you? She said, yes, ma'am. What I did, I gave her the permission that if she wanted to say no, she could say no. But she said, yes, ma'am. And I anointed her with oil. The next couple of Sundays, the mother wanted to come to church, and I wanted her to come to get my pastor to lay hand on the child. And the most amazing thing took place that Sunday. I went to pick them up out in the Fraser area and brought them to church. And I sent the pastor a note telling him what I wanted to do. I want to pray for this child, but I didn't tell him what was wrong with the child. But when the pastor got up to open the service, he was telling us that he had a dream the night before. And he said that in the dream, he saw a little girl, and somebody didn't know that she was behind them. She was playing next to a car, and they didn't know that she was behind them, so they backed up and backed over the little girl. So he told us, he said, be careful. This is the time this school is out. This is summer. Be careful. Watch very good. So when he called for the child to come up, and I took the child up, the mother didn't want to go, so I took the child there. And when the child, listened to this, you all, when the child stood before our pastor, he said, this child looked like the child that was in the dream, that was in my dream. He said the same dress, about the same size. So he laid hands on her and prayed for her. Afterward, I took them home, and then I went to dinner with a couple of friends. And I sit at the table and wait till they got their service, and then I was going to get mine. As I sit there, I was meditating, and the Lord brought to my mind that this was the child that my pastor saw in the dream. He interpreted as cars, running over. The Lord said when a child is violated, it's like a car has ran over them. That's the impact, that's the trauma that's going to be. So be careful. Now, forms of child sexual abuse include urging a child to touch your private part or to do oral sex acts. You know what it is. If you're an abuser, you know what it is. Forced or unforced vaginal or anal sexual intercourse, exposure to adult sexual scene, pornography, having a sexually suggestive conversation with a child on the internet. That's abuse. You may not realize, mothers, fathers, that a child is at risk, but a harsh reality is that most children are abused by someone they know, and they trust. Keep that in your mind. Don't let that go anywhere. As I said before, because the abuser may be an uncle, step-parent, family friend, or person that you love. And the child may not recognize that what you're doing to him or her abuser, that they may not recognize that you're violating them. Not all victimized children understand, particularly teenagers, that if they're in a relationship with an older person, they are not being violated. Listen, the Tennessee law, if he is over 18 and you are under 18, he is violating you. That's the violation, sweetheart. He's violating you. That's violating. You're not even old enough to consent to having sex. You don't know what you're doing. I don't care what he gives you. You don't know what you're doing. You're being violated. Children must be taught to understand that sexual abuse is not their fault. Plain and simple, it's not their fault. Know what you can do, again here, to protect your child. Listen to this. This is very important. Listen. Teach your child to trust their instincts. Do we even know our instinct, where they are? They coming right in here, right in the tummy. Teach the children to know their instinct, so when they get to feeling some other way, they'll know. I think this is so powerful. Every living human being, when you grow up, walk away from something and say, I felt something that wasn't right. That's your instinct. I think it's so great that God has given us this protection on the inside of us, that we can know that we're in trouble. Something is not right. Encourage the development of your child's internal resources for self-protection. He or she may say, I feel funny in the tummy. Watch for that. Teach them to watch for that. I feel funny in the tummy. I even like that myself. Then something is probably not right. Something is not right. Let your children know that they can come to you for support, and they should pay attention to the funny in the tummy. Teach your child the proper name for the private part. Do not teach your child what your great-grandmother told you 90 years ago, 60 years ago. No. Teach them the private part. Because if you don't teach them the private part, they don't have any language as to what is happening to them. So teach them about the private part. Believe your child. It is so important that a child know that they can come to you and you will believe them. Because I've heard stories where the children went to the mother. They're grown now. And they went to the mother and told the mother what was happening, either maybe from their daddy or their mother's boyfriend or their brother. And the response that I hear that come from these mothers is absolutely terrible. I mean terrible. Things like, well, you fast anyway. You probably wanted him to do. You talking to a 6-year-old broken child with your fast self. You need to get yourself somewhere and sit your fast self down. Do you believe that? Oh, it happened. It happened. Common behavior include sexual language related to body part, bathroom talk, and birth question. Looking at private part becomes common. However, it's not normal for children between the ages of 1 to 5 to discuss sexual assault or to have any sexual experience with other children. Thank you for listening. It is common for grade school children to inquire about pregnancy and sexual behavior. Children aged 6 to 12 experiment with the same age. This can include kissing, fondling, or role playing. But it's not normal for children to use sexual words to discuss sexual act. They got it early now, you all. During the adolescent years, 13 to 16, children often ask questions about decision-making, social relationship, and sexual custom. Approximately 1/3 of the adolescent in this age group is already having sexual intercourse. In each stage, parents should be open with their children. Each stage, and always prepared to discuss sexual issues. Above all, children should know that their parents are willing to discuss any anything with them. Anything. The parents should be ready to discuss anything. This information here goes to high school, college students. Let me give you, I know you think you're grown now. You're 18 years old. You think you're grown. You got it going on. You're so glad you're grown. You don't know what to do. Oh, you're ready to go to college. You're ready to leave home. Oh, because you're so grown. You know everything. You could also be raped. You could also be raped. Says the National College Women Sexual Victimization Study. 1 in every 4 and 1 in every 6 college-age women will experience a completed or unattempt rape during the college year. What I tell you? I tell you, listen, you'll never get too old to be raped. 18 years old. You don't ever get too old to be raped. And let me tell you one thing too. Doing all that you want to do, because you're at college, you get yourself in trouble. You've been wanting to go to college ever since you were 10 years old. And you've been wanting to turn 18 ever since you were 14 years old. So you would have to do what no one tells you to do. That's a setup. 57% of college rape victims are attacked on date. You're so happy. You're so happy to have this date. You're so happy because other girls want to date with him too. But you have this date with him. Remember, you all, over 70% of victims does not report. So if it says 57% here, we're almost talking about almost 100 does not report it. Because on some colleges, they're not doing enough. 1 in 10 college-age men admit to using excessive force to gain sex. That's what he's been wanting to do before he even got 18 years old. He does not call it rape. He'll say, she wanted. Let me share something. If it seems like you play like you don't know what rape is, let me put it out here plain and simple. Anytime a person says, no, stop, don't do that, they don't want you. You cannot force yourself, because last night and last week, you all had a kiss. So you think that she is ready now. Let me add this. When a woman get ready, a girl get ready, she know how to let you know. You don't have to push her down on a bed or push her down in a car because you think what she did last week when she kissed you, that she is ready. No, she is not ready. If she says stop, no, don't do that, please don't do that, and she start crying and you do it anyway, you just raped her. You just broke the law. You just became a criminal. Rapists are criminal. Don't think it's a funny thing and you go tell your friends about it. You have become a college criminal. I want you to know that. Women in college who use drugs, attend a university with a high drinking rate, belong to a sorority, and drink heavily in high school they're at greater risk for rape. Young lady, keep yourself. You're going to have time for this later on in your life. Keep yourself. Family violence and abuse are among the most prevalent form of interpersonal violence against women and young children, both girls and boys. The sexual abuse of child should never be just a family matter. Oh, family matter. I've heard that. The uncle done violated someone. The cousin has violated someone. The brother has violated someone. The sister has violated her sister. Even that. Let me tell you one thing. That is not a family affair. I have listened to a victim share that story with me. Women, the mother, the wife, the sister, the cousin covers the abuser. They cover him, so can't nobody get to him. Like, I told him to stop that. He better stop that. I done talked to him about that and talked to him about that. He gonna get himself in trouble. He already in trouble. He already in trouble. He's a criminal. Mother, I don't care how much you love him. He's a criminal. Wife, I don't care. You know who he is anyway. Because most times they're already violated their wife before they marry her. And you covering for him. That's how he travel. That's how he keep his power. It's because someone is pulling the cover for him. One of these days, he's going to get caught. Then what you going to say? I remember a case where these two brothers was violating these two little sisters. One of them was 5 years old. One of them was 6 years old. So they was going to school, and one of the counselors saw one of them walking funny. So they got the child in the school, there in the office, and asked her some questions. Lord have mercy. These brothers had been violating these girls for a long time, but mama wouldn't listen. Grandmama didn't listen. Wouldn't nobody listen. This young girl, they described what these brothers was doing to them. They described it to a T. Children don't have that kind of information if it didn't happen. They didn't read that in a book. They didn't get that from cartoon. They got it from somebody violating them. So anyway, they turned it over to the law. They went out and picked them up. They said they didn't do it. They didn't do anything. The mother said the daughter says her daughter don't do anything but lie. You hear this? Didn't I just tell you all the mother and the wife cover? She said they just lie all the time. They just tell those lies all the time. He ain't did nothing. Neither his brother. You know what? She was waiting on a lawsuit any day. And when she got that lawsuit, she was going to bond them out of jail. You understand? So these little children, little girls, I think they was taken out of the home. The grandmother said the same thing. Here they are doing what I just say don't do. Don't cover them. Because usually, as a law enforcement told me, they don't, rapists don't stop until they die. Okay? That's the only time they stop. But the fact is, she didn't believe, the mother didn't believe these two little girls. The primary reason that the public is not sufficiently aware of child sexual abuse as a problem is that 73% of child victims does not tell anyone about the abuse on the inside of a year. Some of them hold that stuff on the inside. As long as sexual assault stay in you, it's working. I don't want you to think it's gone anywhere. Even if it never ever happened to you again, it's still working on the inside of you. Don't tell yourself you're so much better because this happened 35 years ago. It is still working on the inside of you. And you know yourself that something is not right. But children have a hard time. They have a hard time. Approximately 1/3 of all juvenile victims of sexual abuse cases are children under 6 years old. They can't handle that, you all. These are babies. And sometimes when the children tell the mother what happened to her, when the child tells the mother what happened to her, the mother responds with your fast tail. Just like I said, you probably wanted it with your fast self. We're in trouble. When 1/3 of juveniles victims of sexual abuse, the children, like I told you, violence in the family. This comes from violence in the family. And the report of the American Psychological. They don't know what to do. They don't know what to do. If the mother doesn't believe them, and the grandmother doesn't believe them, who do they have to believe them? Who do they have to protect them. And I heard the way those two brothers was violating those of the sister. You imagine how hard a time those babies had. They couldn't sleep good. They had nightmares, because that is what sexual assault brings. I'm so glad that you are here to listen today. Tell your friends about the program that come on channel 17, Comcast, called From Brokenness to Wholeness. And the reason we call this segment is we call it Let's Talk About It, because people are so ill from the thing that they won't talk about. But if you stay around a person long enough, you're going to know that something is going on, something is wrong. They just don't want to tell it. Spread the word. From brokenness to wholeness. We're going to have much more about sexual assault, about children. We're going to also have sexual assault about males. Males, we did not leave you out. We want to help you too, because males are seldom going to go and get them some help. Reach out to From Brokenness to Wholeness and let us help you. If you want your life better than it has been in the past, reach out to From Brokenness to Wholeness. We sit waiting on you. There's a phone number that's going to come by that you can call. When you call, if you don't get an answer, then leave a message. Make it plain. Leave a message, and then someone will respond. And then you would know more about From Brokenness to Wholeness. I'm here because I don't want anyone else to suffer like I suffer, and as long as I suffer. But that's okay. It was worth the suffering, because now I'm whole. Happened a few years ago, not very long ago. I am whole. So I'm in a state where I can help others. Listen, thank you for allowing us to come today. I hope this information helped you. I really do. And here's the thing that I want you to know. I thank you for listening. Let me say this to you. I try to always have a quote ready for you. And let me say this to you. Why would you want to be a drop in the ocean when you are the ocean? There you have it. Thank you for listening.
You have been watching Let's Talk About It with Thelma Snipe, the director of From Brokenness to Wholeness. And please remember, it is our goal to make sure that you're whole again.